Okay, today's video is an SMP Q&A edition. My name's Will Quay. I'm a clinical trichologist and specialist scalp micropigmentation artist helping you guys that are struggling with hair loss. Okay, so let's get into the video. A few weeks ago, I asked you lot some questions that you might want answered, some questions that, you didn't want a consultation, you didn't want to give your details away, you just wanted the question answered. So I put out a form, you filled it out, it was completely anonymous, so I don't know none of your names, but I've got all your questions right here on the phone. In today's video, I'm going to answer those questions for you. So the first question is, I wet shave bald every day, but now considering SMP. Do I have to grow out my hairs where it can grow and the SMP goes where it doesn't grow? Okay, so basically I'm going to try and answer that the best I can. I believe SMP works best when your hair is at a certain grade or a certain level. SMP does work best when it's at a buzz cut level. I would call that buzz cut level either anywhere between a 0.2 and a 0.4. Now, if you look at one of our previous videos on what's the best clippers to use for SMP, you'll get your answers there in regards to what clippers to use. But you can either use like a skull shaver, a foil shaver, which will get you down to a 0.2, or we like to use also the wild T-cut, which will get you down to about a 0.4. Now, based on what clipper you're using, I would suggest cutting your hair at different times. With the wild T-cut, I think that's an everyday thing, and you need to do that in the morning before you go out, or of a night time, wherever you're gonna go and show off your SMP, that's when you need to cut it. If you're gonna use like a pitbull skull shaver or a foil shaver, I suggest doing that the night before, after your shower, or during the shower, or in the shower, whatever floats your boat. And then the next morning, your hair should be at a perfect length to accompany your new SMP, which hopefully you add here. Okay, next question. I'm greying and my research says there is some colour matching. Explain the colour matching process. Okay, so the colour matching process, what we do here is more based on your skin tone. So the lighter skin tone you are, the lighter shade we go. The darker skin tone you are, the darker shade we go. Now, we do take in consideration your follicle colour, but it's not so much your hair colour, it's the hair follicle. Now, when you shave it down to a buzz cut, everyone's going to be a shade of grey. Now, depending on how grey that is, I'll base on what I pick for a colour. Now, we have to sort of mix between the two. So if you're really, really pale, but you've got dark jet black hair, it's quite a tough treatment. So we'd have to sort of go in between. We don't want to go too dark because that's not going to work well with your skin tone, but we need to go dark enough so it sort of kind of matches your hair. Now, what I would suggest with that, if you're really, really fair skin, but you've got really, really dark hair, you need to shave that hair as low as possible. So the lower you shave it, the lighter it's going to look. Even consider using a razor. But in regards to your hair greying, if you've had SMP and your hair was, say, dark brown, and in the next 10, 15 years, your hair starts to grey, when you come back for your top-ups, we'll take that into consideration and pick a shade that is going to match your hair for when you've started to go grey. Now, again, in my opinion, this has never been a problem. Now, I have clients that have got slight silver, the old silver fox look going on the sides and the back, or on the back and the sides. If you can imagine, right, if you was to lose your hair on the back and sides of your scalp, but you kept your hair on the top, you would half be happy with that. So if there's a slight difference in shade when it comes to your SMP on the top and nothing on the sides, that's the correct way round. You'd want it a little bit more and then fade into nothing. So when you've got them silvery grey hairs, as long as we fade it into your hair, gradual fade, you want that to fade to nothing anyway. That's what looks good. So yeah, it's not a problem. We can get it done. We've got plenty of examples on our website. Please check the website out. We've got a filter on the website so you can pick skin tone, hair color, gender, everything. So you can find you and see what you will look like with SMP. Next question. I plan on moving to an island and will be in the sun, beach and pool. Is getting SMP worthless given this? So no, it's not worthless. getting it if you're gonna move to an island. Lucky you. I wish I was moving to an island, but I'm not. Well, we kind of live on an island, England. We get clients travel from all over, all right? So all these places, they're not all cold places. Some of them are hot, some of them are very sunny, some of them have beaches, some of them have pools. Now, the whole point of getting SMP is that you need to live your life. Now, I know there's a lot of text out there that says, you know, don't go in the sun, don't jump in the pool, don't do this. Now, a lot of it is just mainly while you're healing. So once you've had the treatment done, don't do anything silly whilst your scalp's healing. Now, I've done another video on aftercare, please check that out, and I'll tell you all about the scalp micropigmentation healing process. But once it's healed, live your life, man. Like, if you need to use a bit of sun cream, use a bit of sun cream. What I will say is you don't want to burn your skin. You don't want to burn your scalp whether you had SMP or you didn't have SMP. So just be sensible. But yeah, if you want to live on a beach, on an island, do it, mate. I love it. Next question for Willie. What keeps the ink from the SMP from turning blue or changing colours over time? I've seen some tattoos that were black and grey and over time turn blue or greenish. Great question. So, to be honest with you, the ink will never turn blue or green. I know you've seen it or you think you've seen it that it's turned blue or green. That's not actually the ink that's turned blue or the ink that's turned green. The ink will always stay true to colour. But sometimes it will appear that it's got a slight blue hue or a green hue. Now that's based on your skin's undertones. We can't do anything about that. Now, these old tattoos that you see that are super saturated and they're just like piling the ink in, yeah, you're gonna see those ones go blue or green because they're just smashing so much ink in there that, you know, it's just throwing it in, and then as the sun bounces back on your skin layers, it gives off that blue hue. Now with SMP, we're still hitting the dermis, right? But we're not packing loads of ink in there. Once I've laid an impression, wallop, wallop, I'm moving on to the next one. So I'm not smashing loads of ink in there. So that's why our SMP stays true to colour. Obviously, the fairer skin tone you are, you've got more chance of having that blue hue. But again, there's nothing we can do about that. If you notice, you'll see your actual skin will look a bit cool. You know, we're only going to match what's going on already. Yeah, you're completely safe. And I know you've seen some other SMP artists that got, you know, blue scalps or green scalps. That's just an improper way of implanting the pigment, not proper processes. We've never had a blue or green scalp in the 6+ years we've been doing SMP. So you're safe with us. Next one, why is SMP so expensive? I don't know whose prices you're talking about. Our prices are clear for everyone to see. They're on our website. We believe what we charge is a fair price for the quality of work you're getting. That's not to say that you're going to find cheaper prices and you're going to find more expensive prices. It's just whatever suits you. Now, what I will say is that, you know, if you had to wear a pair of trainers for the rest of your life, would you be seeking out the cheapest pair of trainers, or would you be seeking out the pair of trainers that are going to suit you the best, the most comfortable, because you've got to wear them forever? Now, it's a big decision. If price is the #1 driving factor for you to get this SMP done, I just wouldn't even get SMP done. Now, you can get some SMP done at really low prices and it might suit you because you like the work. That's fine. But you're going to find the best work, you know, you're going to have to pay for it, man. Like, that's just it, you know. And me personally, if I was wearing something for the rest of my life, like you'll be wearing your SMP for the rest of your life, my questions wouldn't be, why is SMP so expensive? My questions would be, who's the best guy or who's the right guy or girl for me to give me the results I want? Next question. It's a lot of questions, isn't it? Many people like to keep a small hair with SMP, 0.5 or 1mm. Do you need to tell the artist in advance if that is the case, so he'll do a different technique? You can. You can let us know what your shaving routine is, whether you razor shave, clipper, foil shave. I usually find before SMP, people like to shave their hair super short. They don't want to show the difference between, you know, skin and hair and that clear difference, you know, where it looks like you're thinning. So I get why you do it. But once you add SMP, you probably don't need to razor unless you've got super dark, super tight hair. right? So yeah, you can let us know, but I'm not gonna just do your SMP and just stop it where it borders your hair. I'm gonna be filtering into your actual hair, not too much, but just to connect it. So even if you was to razor shave it, full shave it, or clipper shave it, it's still gonna look good. It's just what you wanna do based on your hair cutting routine, really. So that answers that one. Next question, is SMP, I'm reading these questions how you've wrote them to me, guys, yeah? So it's not me with bad English. Is SMP technique and ink is the same used for eyebrows microblading? Needle is different, ink is different. So yeah, you're gonna use different techniques that you would to do microblading, because microblading's a blade for a start. So we don't use a blade, we use a tattoo machine. When people say microblading, they usually mean tattoo brows, because not many people do microblading brows anymore. So if you're talking about tattoo brows, then yes, it's probably going to be a slightly different needle that you use. I don't know what you use, 1RLs or 3RLs, but smaller. I can tell you what we use. We use a 3RL, usually based between 06, which is a 0.17, or is it a 0.17? 08.25 and a 10.3, sometimes 12.35. That's what we use, Bishop SMP, the best needles in the world, mate, yeah? But yeah, that's what we use, and the ink we use is a carbon black base pigment. That's it, simple. 3RLs, black. Next one, how realistic this statement is. If you don't like it, laser it off and redo it. And what the implications, cost, pain, and the scalp appearance after removing SMP. Now, I think the removal process, so first of all, that statement, yeah, it kind of is true. If you don't like it, laser it off. Laser it off and leave it off, or laser it off and redo it. We've had clients that have lasered it off and redone it with us, and we've got great results. I'm gonna drop mine here on the screen right now. And yeah, you can get it lasered off and redo it. It's actually quite simple if they've just used a carbon black based pigment, because that's got the smallest molecule when it comes to ink, and the laser picks it up quite easy and draws it out. Now, the next part of the question is implications, cost and pain. Cost, I can't really comment on, because we actually we're not currently doing removal for SMP. We do laser removal, but SMP removal is just on a little bit of ice at the minute, mate. It's coming back soon, so keep in touch with us and we'll let you know. But when it comes to pain, it depends on your pain threshold. Most people say it hurts like to be honest, so I'm not going to beat around the bush here. It's not a pleasant experience, but the results you'll get will be worth the pain. So yeah, the appearance will be good after. Just don't rush it. You know, with laser removal, you need 8 weeks minimum between each laser session, and you're going to need at least 8 to 12 weeks after your last laser session before we can do SMP. So don't laser it off and then want to come to us in 2 weeks to get your SMP. It's not going to be the case. Now, if you're watching this video and you are the guy that's had bad SMP and you want to get it lasered off and you want us to redo it, we're more than happy to help and guide you, but just don't rush it. We will get there, and when you finally get there, you'll be over the moon. So my advice would be, yes, it hurts a little bit. It's a process, like everything's a process. Trust it, but the pain will be worth it, and then we can get you fixed up. This next question, okay, what does this say? Some of us worry that there will be newer technology that will make SMP more realistic and delaying on doing SMP now. We see this clearly on people who did SMP years ago. Huge difference in how natural it is looking. What do you think about that? It's a good point, to be honest. I mean, yeah, 10 years ago, it was pretty waft, wasn't it? Didn't look too good, bit cookie cuttery. Everyone was doing the same. There weren't a lot of choice out there. You know, you want SMP, everyone got the same thing. Everything's advanced a lot more now. It's moved on a lot more. I would say more in regards to innovation in when it comes to hairlines and techniques and stuff like that. The actual ink, I believe, is the same. Correct me if I'm wrong. The needles have always been there, but we're a bit more educated based on what the tattoo industry does, because for a very long time, these old school SMP artists, not all of them, some of them, don't shoot me down, but some of them were very like on a little bit of a pedestal there, right? And they didn't want to take notes from anyone else, right? And yeah, I think they put themselves in a bit of a box, and it kind of them, right? But now people are a little bit more willing to learn and to educate, and things have just got a lot better. Who's to say, you know, in 10 years time things could be even better? Usually that's the case, but we're living for the here and now. I can only answer what's going on now. We're constantly adapting and innovating and, you know, improving our techniques as time goes on. So I can only speak for now. Right now we've got you covered and it looks good. So you're in good hands now. If I would have said to you, you know, if you would have said to me you wanted SMP 10 years ago, even if you would have showed it to me 10 years ago, I wasn't in the industry 10 years ago when this video was filmed, but if you would have showed me and told me I want to get it done 10 years ago based on them results, yeah, I wouldn't have got it done either. So you're in good hands now, so trust it. Okay, so for people with grey hair, if light ink is used, would their SMP fade faster than darker skinned people? No, the ink would fade the time as if it was dark pigment or light pigment, in my opinion. Obviously you started off at a lighter shade, so it's going to fade to another lighter shade, and the darker shade will probably fade to higher than the shade of the lighter shade, if that makes sense. But the rate of fading will be the same, but you're gonna just get lighter to what you first started. That's it. Okay, the next question. This is a nice one actually. Hello, I've had 2 sessions of SMP and I was expecting a lot more results than I have. It's hardly noticeable. My SMP artist is newly qualified. I just wonder if she's being too cautious. So this is classic, you know, I mean, I can see from the question you said the SMP artist is newly qualified. It's good that you know that. Did you know that at the time? I don't know. But based on the fact that she's a newly qualified artist, you have to expect things not to quite go as smoothly as it would with an experienced artist. So hopefully the expectations were explained to you at the time. I can't really judge on it, and to be honest, even if you used to send me photos, I don't like judging other people's work. All I will say is that hopefully you've done your research, you've seen her work finished and healed, and you're happy with that. You just got to trust her process. Like I say, trust our process, which we've got another video called Trust the Process. If you haven't seen that, please find it and watch it. We'll put it in the comments. And yeah, trust the process, because even for my sessions, when I do a session, my first sessions are very, very, very underwhelming in my opinion. It really does take me to 3 sessions to get to where we need to get to. So first of all, you got to do the research before the point of actually getting this done. Once you've done it, you got to trust that person's going to get you there. Hopefully that helps. Oh, can I just finish off by saying on that question, it said at the end there, I wonder if she's being too cautious. Now, she probably is being a bit too cautious, but being too cautious is way better than being overly confident and slamming your head with darts and putting big dirty blotches on your head. If she's being too cautious, that's the better side of the coin to be on, because it can always rectified or improved on. So she's probably doing the right thing, mate, in your best interest. So trust her. You know, if it gets to the point of you're not getting what you signed up for, then maybe reach out to someone and see if they can improve the situation. I need a toilet break, because these bloody questions, you've asked me a lot of questions here, guys. I'm just going to pop to the toilet. Back in a sec. We're back. Oh, I was busting for that. Right, where was I? Okay, next question. How do SMP artists ensure that the ink doesn't bleed and become blotchy over time? So there's always going to be a slight, tiny bit of blurriness or migration. It's never going to be sharp and as, you know, as the first day you got it. But if the SMP artist has applied it properly with proper techniques, and the impressions are there to last and not like and they're like boom, 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 boom with loads of negative space, it's going to look sweet. The blotchiness, so that will come with like oversaturation. So if the artist is like oversaturate your scalp with tiny little impressions all over the gap, yeah, we do the tiniest impressions in the world, off, mate, all that bollocks, right? That's when they oversaturate the scalp and you just look like you've got a grey swimming hat on. And I don't know about you, but I don't want a grey swimming hat on. That's a shit look, innit? You want like proper crispy KFC looking SMP. And if you want that, you know where to come. Next question, does SMP naturally fade away over time if you don't get any top-ups? Good question. The answer to that question is it will fade over time, but not completely. There's always going to be remnants of SMP there if it's been done properly, to be honest with you. SMP is a permanent procedure. There's like early days videos and content and copy out there that say it's semi-permanent, like they did with permanent makeup, saying it's semi-permanent. It's all It's permanent. We're putting ink into your scalp or into your skin, therefore it's permanent. So it won't ever fade away completely, but I've got some clients that have SMP done, it's faded an amount and they like it. It looks natural, they like that faded look, they don't want it too like, you know, that bold look. They just let it be and they're happy. So yeah, as long as you're happy, sweet. How does it work for grey hair, guys? Answered that already. Check earlier on in the video. How long does it last and fades? How long's a piece of string? I mean, most people 2 to 5 years before you need a top up. And how long does it last? It's permanent. So once you've had it done, it's never leaving unless you get it lasered off. Any swelling post the procedure? Not really. There's a little bit of information, nothing noticeable. Your skin's going to be a little bit red, bit angry obviously because there's, you know, your skin's effectively being attacked, so it wants to protect itself. But you normally after 24 to 48 hours, all the redness dies down and yeah, all good. I'm guessing like obviously if you're looking into hair loss solutions, you're talking about swelling. You're probably picturing like, you know, post procedure after a hair transplant where it's just like the side rubber dinghy and your forehead's all massive and that. You're not going to get that. You won't notice. The only thing you notice is a slight discoloration of your skin, i.e. it being red. But in regards to swelling, you don't notice it. Do you do SMP removal for black people? If so, how much? We don't do SMP laser removal for any people right now. We will be in the future. We do laser removal, but just eyebrows and stuff like that. SMP laser removal will be coming in the future. But in answer to your question, we don't do it, but there's people out there that do it. Just find a real qualified, experienced laser technician, as you would if you're looking for an SMP artist. Experience. Okay, so that's the end of the video. I don't know how many questions that was, but it felt like it went on forever. I hope that answered some of your questions and you got some value from this video. Any questions or anything you're not sure about, please drop them in the comments below. You can find all of our details on www.scalpnation.co.uk. See you on the next one.